Hi all, it's JK here with another video. This one is about why I bought the Golf R over the S3. Obviously both cars are pretty much the same thing. Well, I say that, but the Golf R seems to edge it in reviews. Now, if we go back a year, at that point I'd never driven a German car in my life. I was quite happy with my Type R, and I'd started doing YouTube videos on my Type R. One day I was in my Type R, I was giving it some B-road action, and I got easily overtaken by the new Type R. However, I didn't like the look of it, so I thought to myself, well, maybe it's time to buy a new car. You know, my Type R's 10 now, and so on and so forth. So I got home and I started researching what car is the best car at the minute for around 30-40 grand. And what I found was a list of 10 cars, ranging from the RS3, Audi RS3, up to the Mercedes. So what I did was I looked at the top 5, and from memory they were the Golf R, the FK2 Type R, the RS3 Audi, Mercedes A45 AMG, and the BMW 1 Series hatchback. Now, I don't like the look of the 1 Series personally, so that counted that out for me. It then left the 4. I had no idea which to go through from the 4 because although I don't like the look of the Type R, I thought I should give it a go because I'm a Type R fan anyway. So I test drove them all. I test drove the Golf R first, absolutely fell in love with it. It was an absolutely fantastic test drive. Then I test drove the Mercedes. Straight away I didn't like the car. That's not to say it's a bad car, I just didn't like it. Then I test drove the RS3 and then the Type R. Now the RS3, the Audi RS3, which is obviously above the S3 and above this car as well, I had a ball in that car. Me and the dealer, we had a laugh, we loved it, we were laughing like madmen. It was a great test drive. It wasn't as long as this test drive. The VW guys gave me 3 hours in their car, and I'm pretty sure if I'd have asked, they'd have let me take the car home as well. In the RS3 it was literally 20-30 minutes, but it was a really good ride. It involved a couple of minutes of motorway driving, and then most of it was on B roads. Now, on public roads, I've got to say, the RS3, everybody's going on about how the Golf R beats the RS3 on a track, but the fact of the matter is, on public roads, you wouldn't notice that. You wouldn't notice that the Golf R outhandles the RS3. Obviously, the RS3 is a 2.5 litre 5-cylinder, and the Golf R is 4 cylinders. That's why, you know, you've got all that weight. But you seriously would not notice it, and it wouldn't happen on a public road. You're not both going to drive so fast that the guy in the Audi is going to understeer through a bend and lose it, because you just never do that. So, you know, when it comes to cars and basing it on track use, there isn't really much point in doing that, because you'd never use the car at that point anyway. You would never push the car that far on a public road. So, now, getting back to the point of the video, why I chose the Golf R over the S3, bear in mind I chose the Golf R over the RS3, and the reason for that was because, to me, the performance felt pretty much the same. Yes, the RS3's got slightly more power, I think it's 60 more horsepower, and yes, it had slightly more torque, but when you're looking at the price difference of 10 grand, and when you're looking at the fact that 10 grand in the RS3 you don't get any nice toys, gadgets, then it's a no-brainer. You go for the Golf R. Unless you're a complete badge snob and you're not paying the bill, i.e. it's a company car, the company's paying it for you, then yeah, you'd go for the RS3. But when it's your own money and you're paying for it, then obviously you go for the best value for money. You go for the best you can get for your dollar. That's not to say I wouldn't have probably got all that thrown in with negotiation. I'm pretty sure I could have got a decent loaded RS3 for 40 grand. Pretty sure I could. He was certainly ringing me a lot, so yeah, I reckon I could have got a very well loaded RS3 for 40 odd grand. I mean, this car, I got loads of extras thrown in. It should have been a lot more than what I paid for it. So the S3 then is obviously there's going to be no contest. It's going to be a Golf R, only in a suit, a very nice suit, and it's 3 or 4 grand more expensive for pretty much the same thing. And where I'm concerned, because it's my hard money and it's, you know, a car that I'm going to be driving every day, I don't care about how the car looks outside. I don't care if people look at me and think, oh, he's driving an Audi, he's doing well. I really don't care about that. What I care about is, how does it feel when I'm sat behind the wheel sprinting on B roads? And the Golf R is just fantastic piece of kit. And if I was to do it again, if I was to test drive, instead of the RS3, if I was to do the S3, I'd go for the Golf R again. And actually, I think, from what I've read about the RS3, the S3, from what I've read about it, where the Golf R feels more agile, the Golf R feels more fun when you put the pressure down, the pedal down. I'm pretty confident that if I were to go back and say my boss was to buy my car for me, I reckon I'd choose the Golf R again. It's just a brilliant car, and if you're not bothered about leather interior and a badge, a really posh badge, if you don't want to look like you're doing really well for yourself, when, let's be honest, there's that mime going around on the internet where it says drives around in a whip, a finance whip that he can't afford, and that's pretty much what people think. If you're driving a brand new car, they usually assume you've got it on finance and you can't really afford to drive it anyway. So that's, you know, that's the way I think it'd be. I think you'd end up buying an Audi thinking you're impressing everyone, when actually they'd probably be saying, oh, I bet he can't even afford it really, I bet he's paying so much a month. Might not be true, but I'm just saying that's what people think. And certainly when I got this Golf R, on the delivery day videos, I got quite a few comments saying it's a financed whip. Well, first of all, why are you calling it a whip? It's a car, you know, whip. What is that? What are we horse and chariot days now where you whip a horse? It's not a whip, it's a car for a start. And secondly, this car isn't financed, I paid cash. I'm lucky enough where I paid cash for it, but that's not the point. The point is, what's wrong with a whip anyway? If somebody has to buy a car with finance, what's wrong with that? That's like saying, you own a house and you're paying by a mortgage, therefore you're an idiot. Well, 90% of the world's population can't afford to buy a house with cash. You use finance, called a mortgage. So why should you be looked down upon because you bought a car with finance? So yeah, that's what people would probably be thinking, more so if you were driving a brand new Audi, particularly if you were sprinting a bit and overtaking a bit. And you know, I've overtaken a couple of people in this car, and as a result of that, they weren't dangerous overtakes, they were just, you know, a typical overtake where I knew I had the power and I just felt like it. And what they've done in return is they've been in my boot the whole way. So, you know, he's probably thinking, oh, look at this cunt, I'm going to have him now, he's a prick with his financed whip. And that's the sort of mentality you're going to get, probably more so with an Audi. Certainly with a BMW, people seem to have low opinion of BMW drivers. I personally know quite a few BMW drivers and quite like them. And when I see a BMW parked in a car park, funny, I find it quite amusing. I went to the pub the other day for the Christmas meal. I say the other day, it was a couple of months ago. There was an M5 parked across 2 spaces. Didn't bother me. I thought it was quite amusing. Also, it was filthy. But straight away, the work colleagues were like, oh, typical BMW driver. So, yeah, to me, when it comes to brand and image, I don't care. I'm the sort of guy who goes into a Ferrari garage with his pit boots on and his work overalls. I wouldn't go into a dealership and dress smart. I really don't care about my appearance. So obviously when I'm going out clubbing I do, but when it comes to buying and selling, I wear whatever I feel like wearing, and I drive whatever I feel like driving. And it's sort of the argument against the GTR, R35 GTR. Oh, it's an ugly looking car. Well, it might be ugly looking, but who are you trying to impress when you buy a car like that? Are you trying to impress yourself? Do you want to put a smile on your own face when you're going down a B road and redlining it? Or are you just going to cruise around the middle of town and show off, look at me, I'm rich? Because if that's what you're doing, then you probably can't afford to own the car anyway. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's my take on it. You might totally disagree, which you're entitled to do so. I mean, I might be wrong. But I suspect if you drive the S3 and drive the Golf R, from a performance point of view, and from what I've read on reviews, I think deep down you'd realise the Golf R does outperform it, and it's a bargain. You know, 3-4 grand cheaper, and you're getting all that performance. And you know, it's like the last video I did. It's down to the fact that go into eco mode now. Well, I would go into eco mode, but I know what's going to happen. Auto stop start's going to kick in, so I'll just wait a minute. So yeah, leave your comments, let me know what you think. Like I say, it's my opinion, yours could be totally different. You might think I'm wrong, you might think I'm talking bollocks. Let's discuss it. Cheers.